this is the mind map that you have shared.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we'll do today is, yeah, I can see it's around 6:36, no issues. So we are almost on time. What we'll do is first part, we'll talk a little bit about your maps, maybe for 5 minutes, and then I'll show you a few, two of my maps and like something that you have already seen in PPT also. And then how I have converted those slides into map. So just to give a comparison, again, that will take hardly some 10 minutes. Then we'll go through today we will see that how we can organize our content, because last week we spoke about clarity. So we'll just move one step ahead and we'll see how we can organize our content and other things using mind mapping. And we'll also touch a little bit about brainstorming. Suppose you have a team of 10-15 people, it could be online, no problem, but it is always good that you start using mind mapping with them as well, so the process will become easier for you in future when you present using mind mapping, or you want to distribute tasks among your team members using mind mapping. So we'll see all of that. And of course we'll see a lot of mind maps today as an examples for habit tracking, or for suppose you want to design a session and you want, instead of showing a typical what is your plan of action slide or what you plan to talk today, even that we will do directly using mind mapping henceforth. So all those we'll be talking today. So starting with your mind map, I can see this is the symbol I just added yesterday. Yeah, I was just going through this, and yeah, good at, suppose if I were to make this mind map, for example, good at organizing events, then I will also put some examples of various maybe just maybe conferences, seminars, or whatever the kind of events. I'll add another extra layer to this maybe whenever I get time. And then good at teaching, and again at teaching also I would just try to ask myself like what even teaching is like a very broad term, what specifically interests me or what I'm good at teaching. Something like that. Maybe even when I was a child, or even in college, maybe when I don't have this specialization in engineering, but if I look back at my life, I will say, okay, I was good at teaching certain particular subjects only. For example, I never taught anyone English. I used to teach science or mathematics only. So what was that I used to teach? So for everyone, there will be something different. So maybe I'll add an extra layer to this here. And maybe even I will write some, if I just remember some stories, because all these are nothing but stories in building. We are just building stories about ourselves to use later. For example, I would just,
or we can just add on good at storytelling. That's a good one.
yeah, storytelling.
Can you add that under the
sure,
good
sure.
at, but not under teaching?
Okay.
Under
Directly
another
at the good at.
category.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Yeah, storytelling.
Yeah. Does it have to be capital? You had told me.
Yes. It has to be capital.
I'm really trying hard nowadays to remember all the rules.
Yeah, storytelling, and then so yeah, storytelling. And if you remember any particular incident where you told a story, and you know how it all began, so anything you can keep on adding layers. That's what I meant. And for example, consult also, I can see that you are saying consult. So in communication also, speech, it was not suppose you say that you have consulted people, and then for example there are 4 or 5 persons you have already consulted, who have consulted you, of course, for preparation at different not just TEDx, but it could be other competitions, in their office. So all of that, if you add those layers, it's like next time when you see this map, it's already a complete map. It is not just.
I like that. I agree. So basically, under how many people, for example, I have worked with, and then if I can just start, because our mind forgets, right? And who have we actually supported?
Exactly.
You're right on that. Absolutely. Yeah.
For example, editing. Maybe you have helped people with editing their books. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Writing different kind of. Maybe you have helped them write some business communication letters, or whatever it is. I mean, just trying to add that extra layer of information, so that we not only what happens is you will automatically experience this anyways when you keep on writing in mind maps like this, and you take maybe just 5 or 10 minutes, but your brain will remember this for longer duration. Sometimes we ourselves tend to forget what we have done. So all those will not happen. Then even planning also, this is a beautiful picture, but again, of course, you can always add layers to this, more and more layers. So similarly everywhere, this is nice. You have written contribution. So even your own this give back to community contribution, that can become a part. And all these mind maps, if you keep on adding layers and making it more, adding more and more information to it, this can be used in your own sessions, because this is what you are doing. So none of it will go waste actually.
No, absolutely. And I think what I can do is, like, this challenges the work-life balance. I could even link this map to that work-life challenge mind map that I have created, because that is the challenge that I'm really working on and how I'm trying to overcome them, right?
Yeah. And the moment you write about that storytelling, for example, you can actually think about some stories. For example, you connect it to the work-life balance mind map, and then you also write one story or one instance from your life, how you are actually balancing it. And then that you can discuss with people also. So just one keyword will be sufficient for you to remember the entire story from your life. So some keywords or some incidents where you really dealt with this. Maybe there was some important event for your child, or something like that, at a family event, and then there was this commitment and how you tackled it. So something, maybe one or two words here and there will actually ignite that, and your brain will remember every time that work life balance word comes. You will think of some, at least two or three stories will be always there with you. So all those layers, I mean, this is the mind maps, we call it living document, because there's no end to it. We can always keep on adding. So this mind map, definitely you can grow in that way. So this is one thing. And I would want to show you this mind map, and it would be great if you could make a comprehensive map about yourself, not like knowing self, but it would be about your entire. And this is something like every time you present to an unknown group of people, instead of even though maybe the organizers will introduce you, and but it's always good to take some time, either at the end or in the beginning, based upon your audience or what you prefer, to give a comprehensive view about yourself using a mind map. You already have very nice pictures and all, so something of that sort. And then some educational background, whatever, license or something like that. I mean, not necessarily that it has to be similar kind, but something about education, and then something about what is your passion for. I have, these are just like roughly I've made. It is not a complete mind map, but just to show you something like this.
What is Wabi Sabi?
This is something like I teach a lot of people, and especially youth, about living right in the present moment and not worrying too much about what has happened in the past or in the future.
Or is that a full concept? Like,
yeah, it's a
the
complete
word called Wabi
concept, Wabi
Sabi.
Sabi, and I have a separate presentation which I take only for youngsters in colleges, because these people, they have we have a lot of students who come from very affluent families, but they are very worried and all the time anxious youth and all. So in colleges and all, while counseling, we used to use this concept. So I have done some work on this, and also trying to tell them that everything will not be perfect in life, but they have to go with that. So that kind of concept, it's a Japanese concept. And yeah, it's a full there are books on this, just on this concept. Yeah,
I'm writing it down.
yeah. So, and then like whatever it is that you love to do, and your passion and all about, like for example, I have written mind mapping, reading, writing, whatever. So all of that you can write. So the moment somebody sees you, for example, you have asked me Wabi Sabi, so it may not be directly linked with the audience that I'm teaching right now, but at least they get a comprehensive view of what I'm doing. And then experiences, like whatever roles you have played in the past, not necessarily that just right now what you're doing. So whatever you have done earlier. So just I have put things very quickly to show you today. So all that you can do. Sometimes I change this based on the audience also, I change, but roughly I put all the things in this mind map, and then from there, based on whatever a new one, fresh one, if I want to make, I just transfer it there.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, and then current highlight. This is something I always tell others also, that this is one branch we should always have current highlights. Currently, what we are doing, at least for a year or two, or we can also talk about our own programs that we have. So, and then you can keep on adding layers. For example, if I'm going to a particular school or college, then I add the layers here, and here I add more information about what I'm exactly doing in that field. So all of that current highlights about your work and experiences. And yeah, there's social media also. You can actually give them maybe one of your best videos if you have, or maybe even your TEDx talk, something like that, and links to all your social media channels. And this you can share also. You can always share this with in a view only mode with your team members, where they cannot edit the mind map,
right?
But yeah, they can actually have a look and they can go to the links. For example, you have various social media channels and all, they can go to the links. So this is
when we share it, Subra, like normally nowadays, like when I do the export, it's either in PNG or in PDF, right? Now, are you saying that to share it with, if I needed to share it with the audience and I wanted them to see those links, for example, or to the organizers, then in which format do I send it?
PDF, in PDF,
but they won't show the links, right?
No, in PDF they will show the links. I'll be showing right away next year. That is the next thing I'm going to show you. So links will appear. And not only links, everything that you write here will appear, including the notes. Suppose I add a note here, even that will appear. For example, I had suppose there are some people who have a career break or something. They have taken a sabbatical. So if they write about all that also, so it also, resume. I have students who have sent instead of that 1 page or 2 page resume. Of course, that was there, very plain one, but then they sent a mind map where the picture, full, not only this, the full branch with expanded form, the picture appears, and then at the end, note appears, like what projects they have taken up and all of that. So even they can use in that way. And so this is something I would want, maybe you can take a week's time or something, but you can build a complete, this is a big map. I have not shown you fully. If I just open here, each of them, they keep on opening. Suppose I write certification on emotional intelligence I have, and then from which organization. So all of those informations are here. So yeah, so you can keep on adding and make a full-fledged this thing even. And suppose you write that you love reading a lot of books about leadership, then you can even mention some of the books with the pictures, some links. So everything, whatever you want to put, let it be a big mind map, and yeah, it will be like an asset for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it.
So this is one, maybe an assignment or whatever you call it. You can just keep in mind that, yeah, this is one thing. And the previous one, we would want you to expand the knowing self one.
Okay.
Now I'll show you, maybe just a moment.
I have one question, Subra.
Yeah, sure.
What is better, to have a dark background or a white background?
I love light background, white generally, but I have seen a lot of people using dark background, and I think it's personal choice, more or less. But I personally prefer white. You have seen most of my maps are always white background. Yeah. So
no, I was just asking because the other day when I was doing it, then Soumitra said, "Ma'am, please, can you make it dark?" And I understand it probably is it because that we are showing it on screen, which is virtually, and that could be the reason why.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, maybe on face to face it would be white. I would say that was because that's what I in my content creation when I'm doing it as a physical event, then my backgrounds are white. When I'm doing virtual events, and the backgrounds are dark. So that's why I was asking that is there.
Yeah, actually, what happens if there is too much of lighting issue, and even physically also when I used to present, or if we have to go to a location and actually present, even not just mind maps, even PPT, what I see is if the lighting is not proper, then on a white background, it is not visible. But the moment the background is dark, whatever you write, it appears. So maybe visually, that is what maybe to your audience, visually they wanted a darker background.
So I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. So if you remember last week, we did this steps to mind map, and I have shown you some pictures and some slides were shown to you. Yeah. So the same thing, if I had to explain to you, or if I have to explain to a set of audience using mind map instead of PPT. Last week I have used PPT. The same things I have put it here now.
Okay.
For example, if you remember, I have said that step one, we need to start at the center of the page, and there should be always an image at the center or something. So if you see that, that is what exactly I have written here, that start at the center. And then if you see, I have put some notes here. Can you see those notes?
Yeah.
So what I want to show you is that all the topics that we should start at the center. We should focus on the core topic. That is what you put at the center. And then I have written here, take a minute or two in silence to decide your central topic. Be specific and clear what exactly you are trying to map out. So right now already you know this point. So my what I'm trying to show you is not the points that I have done, but what I have done is the same content, whatever were there, whatever I have explained to you using mind maps and slides, everything I have put it here in the form of a mind map. And even this is far, I mean, I would say this is easier, because the moment you show like this, people know, okay, first they will start step number 1 and they have the entire map together instead of slides. Because after slide 1, when slide 2 appears, there is no way I can go back to slide 1 at the same time. Either, I mean, I have to go back to slide 1, then I'll be missing out slide 2. So all the slides won't appear simultaneously showing all the steps. But here we see that all the things are appearing very nicely together. And what I wanted to show you is the moment I download this, export this to PDF, let's say PDF I'm using, and okay, portrait or landscape, whatever, let's say. I wanted to show you that everything, of course, I have not added any YouTube links, but had I added YouTube links, even that would have appeared.
Now that I want to see, because you know why? Because if we're going to send it to them, because I did this whole thing, I created the notes, like what you had said. I created the, exported into Word document and even PPT. I'm still trying all the exports in different formats also. But I was just wondering that if I had to send it to my organizer with the YouTube links and everything, then how does it show it? That's my, so that means they'll have to type it up, probably.
No, I will just show you. This is how it will appear to your audience.
So this is the
mind map.
PDF. Okay, yeah.
PDF.
Yeah.
And then it will show like this.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Very nice.
So wherever there is a link, it will appear as a link only. And the moment they click there, it will take them to the YouTube or whichever link you want to send them. So it will appear like that. So here, since we have not put any link, it has not appeared. But if you put any link, it will just appear like this, like a hyperlink.
Nice. Okay, got it.
Because when I sent my this TEDx, this thing, what you call, that 2-minute TEDx video, it was through a mind map only. So in the mind map link I have sent, and I have sent them all my LinkedIn profile and all of that.
Got it. I understand. I got it.
Yeah. So that makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
Nice.
And what you can do is, I mean, this is again a suggestion. These are just steps to mind map, nothing so I mean different. But for example, you want to tell your team members about, let's say, just 101 of leadership or something like that. You want to give them a short notes or something. So it becomes very difficult to type a lot of notes or handouts if you don't have it already. So you can actually put the things in a mind map, and it will appear like this. They have a picture, they have all this notes, whatever it is, and it appears like a small ebook also to them.
Exactly.
So those kind of things also you can do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is about a little bit about mind maps. We'll be seeing more mind maps, but I would like to take you to the PPT right now, because today we'll be talking more about organizing. So just give me a moment. Yeah. So I always have this issue with a lot of people thinking that, I mean, of course, not with you, but what happens is, especially a lot of youngsters, they think that if they spend too much time on planning, then they are wasting time. And I always tell them this quote that I think, rather than me saying, this is something from Brian Tracy, that every minute we spend in planning, we are actually saving a lot of time in execution, which means that right now, if you're spending half an hour in planning, let's say one meeting or something, which otherwise people would say 5 minutes lagta hai. But then later on, you will see, while you're executing, even when you're writing the meeting minutes or whatever it is, later on a lot of time will be saved. So that is why, and again, this is again something I very strongly believe in, that investment in self-growth pays the highest dividend, and there's no doubt about it, actually. So we have spoken about clarity already. So today, as we said, our topic will be more about organization.
Okay.
So this is today we'll be doing a very small exercise. It will take not more than 5 minutes, but this is something very interesting. Initially, it may seem very like childish to you, but once you have done, you will see the difference. And I'll talk to you only once it is completed. And initially, even if it sounds very simple, let's do it. So this is something about a research done by a group of scientists, and I think you have read about this a lot of time. It comes on social media, and a lot of people have written blogs about it. But this is like, what is the percentage of creativity in kids as compared to adults? So we see that in kindergarten kids, if you ask a simple question, and they have a lot of answers because their minds are not judging their answers, and they are not even bothered about whether the answers are correct or not. So kindergarten, I mean, these kids are they have the highest rate of creativity, 95%. Whereas as we move to primary school, and these are all research based facts, when we move to primary school, it reduces to 75%. When senior school, it further reduces to 50%. University students, it reduces to 25%. That means if we talk about us as adults, we are none of this. We are not even in university now. We have reached a state of adulthood. So for adults, it has been found that the amount of creativity that has, I mean, amount of creativity is just around 10%. And Tony Buzan, and not just Tony Buzan, if the creative people of the world, they would say that this is normal because people have told us that way, but it is not natural. Brain, even last week we spoke a little bit about it, that it is normal because it is a limiting belief that as I grow, my creativity is supposed to decrease. And it's a limiting belief, but it is not the natural way that brain is supposed to function. The brain functions just the opposite way. The only reason maybe we have a decreased creativity is because we have not used it enough.
Excellent.
That's it. Or maybe we are too busy judging our own ideas that it will work, not work. So we'll do a small test, paperclip test we call it. And this is again one of the most reliable. You can Google and check out, or you can see that in any creativity test or in any creativity exam, this is the first test that is given. It's a very simple test and very funny test, but still, this is still considered to be one of the best or standardized test for testing creativity. So we'll do it very quickly to see how actually we have to use it in mind maps. So the paperclip test, what we'll have to do is, if you know, I mean, we all know what is a paperclip. So you will, in any language, of course, you will write down in English. I mean, you will have to jot down on a piece of paper as many uses of paperclip as you can in 60 seconds once the timer starts. And once you have finished those like 7, 10, 15 ideas you have written, you will have to circle the most brilliant idea according to you, whatever out of the 10, 15 ideas that you write. So are you ready? I'll start the timer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I start?
Yeah, you can start. Okay, done.
Oh my God, I've only come up with like 4.
Oh, that's okay. You can just circle the most brilliant one. And
most brilliant one?
Yeah, according to you, whichever you think is the most brilliant one.
Okay. Okay, one. Yeah.
Okay. Now what we'll do is, we'll do the second part of the test where you will have to write down as many non-uses of paperclip as you can. Right now, what you have done in the step 1 is uses. Right now, what we'll do is non-uses of a paperclip. And yeah, same thing, you have to circle the most brilliant idea, and you have 60 seconds. So I'm starting the
non-uses, that means where we can't use them, right?
Yes. Okay, and I'm starting the timer again. Yeah, done. So in non-users, what you'll do is, again, you will circle the most brilliant non-use according to you, or what is the best non-use. You absolutely think that this is not possible with a paperclip.
Okay, done.
Okay. So now, whatever means what you have, what your brain has just now done is that you have jotted down some non-uses of paperclip, and you have circled the idea according to which you can't do that with, paperclips. So what you'll have to do is you have to just take the opposite side. You can take, let's say, 2 minutes or 3 minutes, whatever time, maybe 1 to 2 minutes to think. Now you have to, right now we will not discuss. You have to pressurize your brain actually to, for example, I have written, just an example, I have written that I cannot use paper clips for washing clothes, just an example. So now I have to pressurize my brain and find at least one way in which I can wash clothes using paper clips. So you have to reverse that equation.
Okay, I was able to do it.
So you
I had written no using of cooking for cooking.
Okay, so now you have to prove to yourself, to your brain rather, that you can use it for cooking.
Yeah. So then now
it's like 100% turnaround. Whatever you have said, you
so
have
I
to
need to do
negate
100% turnaround of that. My brain had told me that I can't use it, but now I'm saying yes, it's possible. Probably I'm going to use the paper clip to put the maybe on the fish, bring this on the sides to clip it up so that it's sealed or something of that sort.
Anything. It's funny, but I'll tell you, this is really funny, and we are trying to tell our brain that whatever we just said we cannot, we can do it. And if you see that just now you are also thinking of ways, and I have seen that most of the time people use like very crazy things. We cannot eat with paper clips or eat paper clip, and then they themselves say, we'll make spoons using paper clip. And then or maybe they will make the handle of spatula using paper clips, and they will use it for cooking. So a lot of people and whatever weird kind of things they have written that they can't do, they turn around the equation and they say that yes, we can do with that. So what you just did was you want your brain to change the equation from you can't to you can, or you can to you can't. Opposite ways also we can do. So this what we have just done is we have changed the formula for creative thinking. Instead of what we'd start with is what are the things I can do. Right now what you did is you just we did same thing, what you can do you did, and then okay, now it is good. And if you think logically, if you have written 5 things that you can do with paper clips, that means there are infinite things you cannot do. Because if those were the things you can, if you just think that the entire world is divided into 2 parts, one is things we can do with paper clips, that means the remaining are things we cannot do with paper clips. But even then, somehow as adults, our brain are still our brains are not able to find out the non-uses. But logically speaking, there should have been 100 non-uses of paperclip or even more, because everything that are not uses are non-uses. But somehow that restriction comes because more or less we have been trained to tag our own judgments. And that is like a very bad thing for creativity. So this was just like a small exercise. And as you start using mind mapping and speed reading and all of that, you will see that more and more you use mind mapping, not just all the time on MindMeister, but it could be just taking a simple maybe you're in a restaurant and you have some ideas, you take a piece of paper, just jot down your ideas there in a radial way. Even that will slowly make you feel that where others can see only 1 or 2 ideas generating, you will see a lot of ideas. So if you see this statement that genius is the capacity to see 10 things where an ordinary person sees 1, and a talented person may see 2 or 3. So the moment you start using mind mapping more frequently, you will see that you are already unlocking the genius that is already within you.
Yeah. Right.
So
right.
What was this experiment that you did just now, the paperclip experiment? This was designed in 1968. So NASA approached a person called George Land. This is his name. So in 1968, NASA approached him that they wanted a group of engineers for a group of prospective engineers for a particular project. And the only criteria they needed was not how good they were in studies, not how, all those are okay. But one criteria they needed was they should be all creative people who should think like child, those kindergarten kids who have 95% creativity and who do not tag their own, who do not judge their own ideas. They at least give it a try. So for that, George Land, he designed this paperclip test. Using this paperclip test, so this is a paperclip test that was used to find the creativity quotient or CQ of prospective candidates for that project in NASA in 1968. And since then, when this experiment became so famous that over and over for so many decades, this is used as a standardized test for creativity quotient as the first step. So you can do the same thing with your people, and not necessary that you give them a paper clip. You can actually, what we do is we tell them, okay, 3 things you can not absolutely do. So some people say, I cannot absolutely go and talk on stage in front of 100 people, or I cannot, I cannot write properly. I cannot read. I know what, how much ever I read, I will forget. So whatever is their equation of cannot, and then we say that, okay, let's change the equation and write your story together. So the second step can be that if you are dealing with a group of audience with whom you want to, you want them to learn something new, you can actually do this experiment with them. And you tell them that just now, if you can do it with paper clips, you can do it with anything actually. And this is a standardized test already. So they can even check and Google about it. So what happened was just now, this is kind of a war in the brain, and we all have this. You, me, even a child, everyone has this. But the only thing is that the child or the kindergarten kid, this high school children, or some creative people who are not very much bothered about the outside world, they will, even if this war is there, they will not allow this to hamper their brain. So what happens is, just now when I asked you this, what are the uses of paper clips or what are the non-uses of paper clips, your brain might have generated a lot of ideas, maybe 100, 200 ideas. So that is divergent thinking, where your brain is generating a lot of ideas. But what happens is, as adults, the moment we generate a lot of ideas, there is another part of the brain which is saying that ये बेकार है, वो बेकार है. So we are not consciously doing, we are subconsciously actually putting them down. So immediately what we do as adults, we are very fast, and especially nowadays, what we want is that we have to reach the solution fast. So immediately your brain wants to do convergent thinking. That okay, your brain might have told you, okay, I have found out 5 ideas. Let me now, out of the 5 or 10 ideas, I will write down only 2 in the paper, because I want to get only 2 or 3 best. So what we are doing is we are narrowing down and we are doing convergent thinking. So now our both, most of the time people think that, okay, only divergent thinking is good and we don't need convergent thinking, or any one is good. But if the question answer is, we should always allow, specifically if we are working on a project where you want to generate a lot of ideas, or where you want your team to generate ideas, the first step should be, you should encourage them to do thinking divergently. That means come up with as many ideas as you can. For example, we have students in mechanical engineering who come up with ideas like, why a car can have square wheels. Now that's the craziest thing a person might even think of. Car can have square wheels. But the moment they come up with that kind of divergent thinking, the next step was they will think about all the problems that can happen with a square wheel. And actually that is what they are doing, negative testing. So even those kind of crazy ideas will come when we allow divergent thinking to happen initially. And once divergent thinking has happened for a good amount of time consciously, then we go to convergent thinking, where we narrow down and then we look towards the facts and what will work, what will not work and all. But if we initially, only if we do not use our brain for divergent thinking and we jump to convergent thinking, then their creativity will always be hampered, whether it's for us, our kids, our students or our team members. So this is something what we do in speed mapping, and I would encourage you also that not just in MindMeister, but you can always pick up, and not necessary that you have to pick up some fancy sketch pens or a lot of colored pens and all. Maybe just a pen, a black or blue pen, and a piece of paper, and at least once in a week you sit down, and it could be that what are the new things I can implement in my course, what are the new thing, or something about your life, anything, you just put that at the center, and as many ideas in radial direction, not necessary that it has to be branches or the rules of mind map need to be followed, nothing. The only one thing that you can do here is just go radiant. Instead of writing from top to bottom or left to right, just keep the topic at the center and generate as many ideas as you want. And then maybe
we don't have to connect them, right? We don't have to connect
you don't have to, because this is more like telling your brain to think divergently, and you are doing it consciously. You will not tag any of your ideas. It could be some of the crazes. You can just think, okay, maybe next year I'm going to go to, TED, not TEDx. I'll be invited for TED, and or maybe I'm just going to run this full marathon, something. And what are the things I want to do for that? And you are just talking to yourself, not only idea generation. It could be just doing divergent thinking consciously every week, at least once. And from there, anyways, you can later make a mind map or do whatever you wish. But this kind of activity, at least for 5 to 10 minutes every week, this will help our brain to whatever creativity is already there, suppressed for a long time, this will all come out. I have seen many people after doing this exercise, they have said that they have written research papers, some breakthrough ideas came. And of course, there are other steps also, but this is the first step. So, and why paper clips? Because this was the simplest. George Len found that this is the simplest thing. Everybody know what is a paper clip, and even if a kid doesn't know, you can always show that, okay, this is a paper clip. Now think what you can do this with this. So paper clips, the easiest thing, but then it was, again, here also it was found that kids were more creative in finding the non-users and turning them into users, and they could do anything and everything. The only reason being that they don't use too much of their reasoning in the first step, in divergent thinking. So as adults, we have to consciously start practicing that. And people say think outside the box. I think as you start using mind mapping, and just now what you have learned about convergent and divergent thinking, and if you use it for speed mapping, we call the process speed mapping, where we don't tag any ideas, we just keep on jotting down our ideas. We will be actually I call it that we don't need to think with the outside the box. We will be thinking without the box. We don't need, there will be no limitation to your thinking. You'll keep on thinking. So we don't even need a box to think. Okay, it's not about inside or outside the box. It will be without the box. So again, this is a very interesting, you can try this with others. And just now, let me quickly run you through this. So the moment I say 1, 2, 3, every time I'm with an audience, and again, this is, I think, by George Lend or by another scientist who designed this creativity test. The moment we say 1, 2, 3, adult brains will immediately say 4 most of the time. And that's very natural, because we are all from childhood onwards, we have been told that we have to reach the answer as fast as possible. So we will say 4, but just see that this could be, the answer could be 5 also, because there is nowhere it is written that it has to be in serial number. It could be that, okay, the second number is 1 plus 1 is 2, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3 plus 1, okay, then in that case it is 4. But how about that, okay, 1 plus 2 they have done. So 2 plus 3 they have done. So maybe the next one could be 5. So whatever, there are so many possibilities. And I had a child in my class who said that, okay, it could be 8. And how I said, now that was not an answer I was expecting. How 8 is? What she did is she tilted the 8 and she said it is infinity, dot, 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 infinity. So the moment we allow our brain to pause and think, there are so many options. But if we don't allow our brain to pause and do divergent thinking, immediately will come up with one answer, that is convergent thinking, not allowing the brain to think in a diverse way. We are more trying to focus and narrow down our answers, and immediately brain will say 4. So if we want, at least when during our brainstorming sessions, or when we are coming up with new ideas or something, even if we are not accustomed to it, we have to forcefully tell our brain in the beginning that we will spend more time in thinking, and we will not jump to conclusions immediately. So I say that for this experiment, that the worst thing to do is that to say that yes, I'm done immediately. And the best thing could be giving yourself some inputs. Okay, what are the other, this is just a mathematical equation, okay, 1 2 3, but in life or in any situation, what are the best inputs I can give? Giving yourself some time, especially in the thinking process. And if you say that you have to give yourself that time to think, reflect, and create, and all of this can be done using speed mapping or mind mapping. And so once again, when I show this, now you know that okay, 1 2 3, it could be 4, it could be 5, it could be, actually the answer may not be here, it could be anything else. 100 answers are possible. So we always say that, you know, don't settle for 4, let's take some time to reflect, and we will not settle for something that is easy and quick. And specifically because when you deal as a coach, when you deal with others, you will see a lot of people, they have some fixed mindset, and they will always want to settle very for the things that are very easy and quick. So I call it settling for the 4. But if you guide them, they will understand the importance of divergent thinking, and they will, you know, slowly unlock their creativity, their potential, using more and more inputs. Maybe inputs could be in the form of reading more books, inputs could be in the form of whatever exercise you are telling them to do. Maybe they will think it's a waste of time, but you can always tell them that this is what, you know, that if you remember that Brian Tracy statement in the beginning, that the more time they're spending in the input part, the output will get better. Yeah, in the preparation, in the input. So more and more, the output will get easier for them. The execution will become easier. So this is like a continuous process. So
basically, the divergent thinking is we have an idea and we need to brainstorm, correct?
Yes.
And convergent thinking is that now we have to
narrow down
negative thinking of the same. That means reverse it.
Is not that exactly reverse it. Divergent thinking is, for example, you had 10 or 15 ideas.
Right.
Just for example, you say that any topic, it could be any topic, you have 10 15 ideas, and while writing the ideas you had no
so
judgment.
That's conversion.
Yeah,
and then now from there selecting the best one.
Yes, with based on facts and figures
and facts and figures, that is the
convergent
thinking.
Yeah,
okay,
it's more like funneling. Yeah, it's more
funneling,
like
correct. Okay, got it. Yeah, because like, for example, anytime we are thinking, we have, okay, I need to put all these points, for example, and then you choose the best 3 that you're going to share. That becomes your conversion.
Exactly. Okay. So this is exact, just now what you said was exactly what we did was, and with bigger plate. Okay, so that is what Graham was saying, that he and his son every year, when they, before the start of the new year, they sit together with his 4 sons, and they will sit together, and they will say, this year for the company, what are the things they will do? And every one of them will have their new ideas, fresh ideas, and without judging, they will all put it in a mind map together. They do it through mind map, and they see that they came out with some 29 or 30 ideas last time. And of course, in 1 year, implementing 30 new ideas for a company is not going to work. So then they do, they do reasoning, that each idea, which best 5 only they will select. So then they do all those reasoning.
So then systematic rejection and acceptance of those are
absolutely. So the same thing from there, as you have already told about the word, you actually got the word that yes, Subra, this is we are doing for brainstorming. So that is what the next thing is about, that what we do in a traditional brainstorming. If you I mean, we all know this, and we have seen this in our schools, colleges, and even in organizations also, that there will be someone who is the superior person in the group. It could be the leader, or whoever, the person who calls himself the leader or something, and that person will be kind of dominant and extrovert. He is the person in the room who has the highest voice, and someone, generally these are some senior people, and what they will do is they will be the loudest also. They will be very vocal about whatever they think, and even then they would call it brainstorming. And what would happen with the rest of the people? Of course,
I love this one.
Of course, there will be some kind of feeling that, okay, will I sound foolish if I ask this question, or if I give this idea? And then this person, whoever is thinking that he is doing brainstorming with the team, he or she is doing brainstorming, she is brainstorming with a team, it's not actually brainstorming. He or she would try to influence the ideas of the remaining people. And then it's almost like, okay, taking them to a path also. He or she will even define, okay, this is the path you should think. So actually, if you see, everything is just against brainstorming. It's not brainstorming. And they will narrow down the path. And if you then describe the entire process, if all these things have happened, dominant, then creating that fear, not creating directly but passively, what will happen is not, it is not brainstorming. Whatever was there in his own mind, he is just transcribing it or interpreting it and put it in his own things in a piece of paper, or what is I don't know, means I have come across this kind of brainstorming so
I love
often.
this. It's such a brilliant visual. It's a brilliant visual. I love it.
So this is, and I'm sure you have also experienced this at least some point of time.
No, but I haven't seen it in a brainstorming form, and this has come out so brilliantly. I loved it, actually.
Thank you. So
this is a really good one.
So this is this is a traditional brainstorming, which is not brainstorming. It is everything but not brainstorming. And what we as mind mappers, now that whether you do it in the form of pen, paper, or your mind meister, what you as a mind mapper you can do is, brainstorming is where you actually have to allow your team, your members, to do divergent thinking first. Convergent you can do later as a senior member. Okay, you can do the convergent and you can help them in doing convergent thinking. So what you can do is, maybe you have some 10 or 15 people, you can ask them, okay, draw your individual mind maps, whatever ideas they have. And they need not know what is a mind map for this. You can just tell them, okay, you draw a center this topic and then put it in the form of branches and all. Maybe even a 5-minute explanation on how to do it, they can make it as mind map. And then you can actually ask them to make a group of 3. This is what we do as mind mappers. We ask people to form groups of 4 or 5 or 6, something like that. And then now in the same group, without me or without the senior person in the group who has the complete idea about what exactly is going on, still without influencing, okay, in small groups you decide. And out of the 10 ideas, that suppose each of them have 10 ideas, now 30 ideas, let them fix out at least 5 or 6 ideas from there. And then the entire group from here, one leader or team leader can do it, and then they can do it. So what happens is, the entire group now, for example, from each of this group, one have come with their ideas or something. So it is not direct rejection, but it's a systematic. Of course, this is just a visualization of how it can be. There can be many layers to it, but the main idea is not to directly go and boss around with, okay, this is the idea and this is how we are going to brainstorm. So instead of that, this is how we have been doing so far. And what we do is, even with 100 people in a room, we do the same exercise. But we have done this for 150 people also till date, and it works. Even with simple idea, like where youths were very they were opposing a certain policies in college, and when they were asked that if you were in this position, what policy change would you make? And at that point of time, the moment they are made responsible, they come up with brilliant ideas, even sometimes management have not thought about, which is good for the student, which is good for the management. So this kind of ideas really work. And I mean, this slide, if you can just visualize, you can use it. You can use it, and you can actually tell people also, because this the first one,
I love that.
This one. So this one you can make your own version. This is one, but we can make in MindMeister your own versions of traditional bossism, that people call it brainstorming.
Love it.
So this was about brainstorming using mind mapping. And yes, do you have any questions till now?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so if you see, can you see the path that we are following? We started with Brian Tracy's thing, and then we saw some mind maps, how we can go deep into your mind map about knowing yourself, or whether it is about your own CV. We can call it a resume mind map, where you put everything about yourself. It's not just a piece of paper, but it has all the information, your channels, your work that you're doing. So all of that, and from there we move to about creativity, because this is very important. To be creative, we need to know how to organize our thoughts. And to organize, we have first to allow ourselves to be unorganized. We have to think subconsciously or consciously. We have to allow our brain to think divergently. And that can be used in brainstorming also. So all good till here?
All good.
Excellent. Okay. So I'll just stop sharing this, and I would want to share my MindMeister in that case. The MindMeister screen. Yeah.
Today my MindMeister is not working for some reason.
That's okay. No issues. Yeah. That could be just the problem of internet.
Internet, yeah. That's right.
So I'll just show you one template that you can create for yourself, because we are talking about not speech, that was article.
No, can we do speech?
I think it's the same thing. I'll just show you. Yeah, no issues. Let me check.
I want to do speech, because for me, before the writing, yeah.
This is June 9th. I want to see which one. Okay. So it's more or less the same. Okay, no issues. I'll show you this. So this is again a template, but not necessary that you have to use this. You can always make your own versions of this, but this is more to tell you that, for example, you have a speech mind. You want to make a speech mind map, and this is like step one of how we generally, specifically for people who have no idea how to break down their speech, or so you can use it for your own team, and you can make versions, I mean your own version. So what we do it is, if you see that I have written here introduction, and then I tell them that, okay, in introduction, what are the various things they can use, and instead of writing a metaphor, they will actually put another branch here, and then they will think about the metaphor they are going to use for their speech. And the center, instead of writing speech mind map, they will write down their own topic. It could be anything. For example, they are talking about choice, they are talking about whatever is the topic, they will write at the center, and then they will write one metaphor, phrase, or quote, any one of this, not all three. And you can use some more options, whatever, based on your own way of how you talk about speech and all. Then objective, I always tell that not necessary that here you have to follow the rules of mind map, that it has to be just one word. Let it be one sentence, but one sentence objective, and let them spend a good amount of time, specifically for people who are thinking about, who have not given speech and all earlier, and they want they want to write down or all of that. So one sentence objective, in one sentence explain the entire topic, and then importance, the need, the benefits, and anything else that they think that, okay, why is this speech important? Why will people even listen to me? Why would people even listen to me when I'm speaking on this particular topic? So it could be I'm talking about the need, not necessary that all three are there. It could be just needs I'm talking, or just benefits I'm talking, something like that. And all of this in the opening part, in very short, they write down this. So once in the mind map they have this introduction, then it will be easier for them to frame those sentences, and okay, this is my introduction part. So they know exactly what will go in introduction. Next, we call it the grab part, where the idea is to grab the attention of the audience. If it's a speech, grab the attention of the audience. If it's an article, grab the attention of the readers. But then we start with some argument, and the argument is like either breaking some mindset that people already, whatever topic it is, there will be always some mindset associated with it, or some myths, or some questions, and just asking a question to the public. So whatever it is, starting with some sort of argument. So again, I write down, for example, if I have to do this, what I'll do is I'll write down, okay, mindset number one about mind mapping, what people think it's just a childish thing. So I'll just write down it's childish. Just one word is sufficient for me to at least frame sentences. So this is like brainstorming my speech kind of thing. Then I'll write another mindset here. So something like, I'll keep on writing if 5-6 also comes to my mind, I'll write. While formulating or writing the speech, maybe I'll just select one or two, but this is more like whatever is coming to my mind. Or if I'm not able to find out my mindsets, maybe some myth around the topic. For example, I remember someone saying that Sanskrit is only for a particular Sanskrit teachers. Automatically, the moment you say Sanskrit teachers, people think they are from a upper caste. So that's a myth. So I had a person in my community who was not the so-called upper caste as per the society, and he is a brilliant Sanskrit teacher. So when he went and gave his speech and all in different organizations, that was the first myth he wanted to break. That so something like that. So if you are just writing down some from society, if you take some clues and cues and just put down as myth, so you may not use it in the speech right now, but you can always use it in future as well. So some 5 to 6 myth we jot down here, and then at least 1 or 2 questions around that topic. So everything is towards like challenging, and that is why we call it argument.
Correct.
So
correct.
Something, and we are already doing it. It's more like putting it in the form of a mind map, so that every time we write a speech or something, we more or less follow this format. So, and then of course the next one, this mind map that you are seeing on the screen, I'll be sending it to you separately as an image also.
Okay.
Yeah, so it will be easier, and then you can of course make your own versions of it. And questions, or based on the topic, you can think about 2 or 3 questions that are very challenging the norm or challenging the current status, whatever it is. So something like that, some questions or some taboos or something. And then research. So not necessary that all these 4 are always important. It could be some newspaper based on the article, it could be some newspaper cuttings, or it could be from any book, some quotes or something, or maybe none of this, but there is some very famous person, and from their life you want to pick up this statement that supports your speech or your objective of that entire speech. And maybe you can also talk about some videos, some YouTube videos or something. So if you have if you have selected 5 videos, for example, whenever I speak on Wabi Sabi, I have to speak about a person called Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, who is a father of positive psychology. So he passed away in 2021, I think. Yeah, he passed away last year. So what I do is I make a collection of all his videos and I'll put it here, and then I will give it to my to my clients or whoever, to the students, so that they can also, when I share the mind map with them, they also see the videos. And I tell them, you also put similar videos, maybe at least 2 or 3 videos. It could be TED Talks, it could be TEDx Talk, or maybe some emotional videos that you want to keep it. It could be even some advertisements. If I want to use some I use a lot of advertisements, clippings from advertisements to show to prove some points. So I put all those video links here. And then the only reason that, suppose I'm using a newspaper or books or something, or maybe a person, I just write down the sources, because sometimes later, after 1 month or so, I tend to forget. It's in my case, I tend to forget, and what happens is I have to go back to Google and check out everything. So instead of that, I'll just put the links, source links here, one after the other. It could be blogs, it could be videos, anything, whatever, those links I'll put here. So what I'm doing is, it could be a simple speech and people might think that I'll need only 15 minutes for this speech. But the moment you start doing all of this, what you're doing is you're giving your brain a lot of ideas. You're doing actually divergent thinking here. You may not use everything for your speech, but you're allowing your brain to think about all of that. And then stories. I always pick up at least 3 stories for whatever topic. Even if you give me a topic like mind mapping, and why teachers must mind map. I took a session for Bigger Plate. The topic was why teachers must mind map. And for that also, I remember I wrote 3 stories initially when I was planning. I went ahead and gave only 1 story. And 2 stories are there still for me. Next time I may give, I have 2 new stories also to share.
Absolutely.
But I have written down all those stories and just one word, a story when I was in class 8. So that is sufficient for me to remember the entire story. So I'll write down all those stories, and the main idea is to have some emotional moment in the speech, because that is when people will remember the story that I'm sharing or the core message that I'm sharing. So it could be any emotion, it could be humor, or it could be some sad story, whatever it is, but to generate some kind of emotion in my readers or my listeners. And then from there, so what we do is, from there we go to the conclusion, and in the conclusion we kind of restate, but in different words. Maybe I started with a metaphor or phrase, and whatever argument I have given, I kind of conclude everything, and I try to restate that in a very firm, with a very some kind of firm statement or something like that. And I mean, of course you know that already, but it's more like, what are the different ways I can restate? Should I restate by leaving the audience with an open question, or should I say that this is something, are they in agreement with whatever I have said? So something like that. But idea is whatever I have said in the beginning, the same thing I'm putting it in a different way in the end, but this time with a lot of emphasis, proof, data, everything you have given them. So after that, and then you conclude with whatever, I mean, conclude not like formal conclusion, but of course with a call to action or whatever it is. It could be a simple thought experiment that, okay, why don't you go home today and think about these 3 questions? So it could be anything. And this generally it works the moment you do it using mind mapping. Maybe you have already done it in different ways, like, you write it on a piece of paper and from top to bottom we go, and you might have done in different ways, but the only difference you will find next time you do it using this kind of mind mapping templates is you will come up with, you want only one idea, your brain will give you 10 ideas. So that is what I say, that every time you do all this using mind mapping, you are telling your brain divergent thinking karo. Means you're forcing your brain to do divergent thinking when you're using mind mapping.
Correct.
So, and suppose in this entire speech you want to have that one rest off moment.
Standout moment.
Yeah, that standout moment. So it could be through your story. Or you want to have this repetition and association. So you know that, okay, in the introduction there will be something about that topic, some important, if you remember, some people, if they want to tell people that they, they can believe them, so they will use the word trust in 2-3 different ways. In their story also they will use the word trust. In their introduction also they will give some metaphor or some quotes using the word trust around it. In conclusion also they will bring the word trust, and somehow the audience will feel, okay, this person is trustworthy. Subconsciously they will start thinking. If you talk about time, they will think you're punctual. If you talk about women empowerment, and then they will see you as an empowered woman already. So that is how it works. So you can use all those 7 principles, not all the 7, but at least the primacy, start, then recency, one rest off, and repetition and association. That is at least 3 times. And if you can play with words, and you can actually play with words sounds a little bit different or not very nice, but actually you can use that understanding and misunderstanding concept, where you don't directly tell your audience, but they will have an idea that, okay, this is the person who, if I have to talk about leadership, I should go with her.
Yeah, I remember now. In my TEDx, I had said the first whole part was about me having a baby, right? And then the second part was when I went to the second chapter of my life. I said I wanted to have another baby, but this time in the form of a business. Like, so it was, you see, when you say the word baby, you immediately think about a baby, but actually it was about me giving birth to a new idea, which was actually going to be the business. Is that an example of?
Yes, absolutely. I think you took a completely 180-degree turn. So what you're doing is you are giving a kind of shock to the audience, because most of them, the moment human beings we hear of baby, we don't even think about any other thing. We just think about, okay, baby, and then we think about our own child. So business can be something like that. So at least 90% of the people won't even think about that. So the moment you're creating, that's a standout moment. Actually, you're creating a one rest of effect already in their mind, and even the emotions will be touched by that. So it's like you're doing one rest off through a story, through a story about your life. So that's an excellent way. And that's what I say, that already you have been using all of this in different ways.
It's just that I didn't realize that I was using these things. That's why I said I really, it was great, it was good to learn, because I'm using these, but I'm not knowing what I'm using.
Yeah, because you're already using maybe even repetition and association.
And then, like, again and again, the repetition about the word that emphasis was about the association, that you're not a woman, you're a Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So there was a point when I said that that I thought, there was something about me saying that I'm, and I thought something about me being Wonder Woman, and I actually said, and I secretly believed I was one too. Or, you know, like, so it's like, you know, you're talking about it from the point of view about me being a Wonder Woman. So the word Wonder Woman is something that I wanted them to stick in their minds.
And
so
they will see you as the Wonder Woman, you as that empowered woman, you, and then the
as
moment
you
they see
as
you,
the Wonder Woman, exactly. So it's like this. So I know I can start, like, you know, relating to what you're saying. Okay.
And that's what I say, that knowing you now already, I mean, at least may not be very closely, but we know each other for a long time. So I know that you already are using it in different forms in your speech. It's like more, and that is why I said that today we'll be talking about organizing. Because, you know, we do a lot of things in life, and I was at one point of time, I remember I was doing a lot in my college, I mean, when I was teaching in the university, but the problem was I was not organizing. So at any point of time, even my vice chancellor, if he or she would have asked me that, okay, why do you think you need this promotion when there are 10 people older than you, and I would not have an answer. But then I remember when I actually went to the vice chancellor in 2015, saying that yes, I did this, and we say I would, next week we are also going to talk about negotiation and persuasion. So I actually used a mind map to negotiate and persuade my point that yes, I need not only the salary hike, but also the position should change, and my age should not come on the way. There may be 10 people, and why I actually made a mind map where there was this, what are the things I have done for the department, how the department grew under my leadership in different committees, changes I brought, what are the feedback my students gave me, what are the feedback my colleagues gave me. So when everything is there in a mind map and you show to the other person, there is no way they can deny that you have done that.
Absolutely.
So that one mind map that I've asked you to make today in the beginning about yourself, that is also going to help in that process. You always have handy of all the things that you're doing, and you can keep on updating it on a monthly basis. So yeah, I think this.
I agree on that. That for me, I mean, when I wrote my resume, in fact I wrote my resume after 10 years.
Okay.
When the TEDx organizers asked me to write a resume, and when you're forced to think that what the hell have you actually done, then your mind starts processing that information which you've forgotten. So exactly. It's okay.
For example, I have seen you read books. You have done videos, so many videos on that leadership book. I think that one was by John Maxwell. I remember those terrace videos and all. So, and the books and all. So if you see that you're already even it takes a lot of effort to make a 10-second video also, I would say, or 30-second video.
I swear to God. I swear to God.
That is a big, so you're
constantly doing convergent and then divergent. I know what now, it's like these are new words, but it's making sense. Yeah, okay.
So putting all of that in a mind map, and then knowing yourself that you're doing it, actually you can talk about it to others also more often. Mostly what is happening is we are doing a lot of things, but we are not talking about it to people, because
and that's why whatever you teach me since that day, I've been telling everybody primacy. So why am I saying it to them? Is because I'm registering it as a word in my mind.
Absolutely.
My way of learning is immediate application. So whatever you teach me, I will go and apply it.
And that's the best thing. Then your brain will automatically take it to long-term memory.
Exactly. Like primacy and recency have become now two words in my head. But the other day when the word, which one is it for association? Because I'm using the wrong one. So I'm now using the word association, but there's another one that actually is in the rules. What is the rule?
Repetition and association.
Repetition. Okay.
Association.
Okay, repetition.
Repeat 3 times. Repeat 3 times.
But my mind has registered it as association. Okay. And then mnemonics has stayed. Although you had said initially colors and codes, you showed me the symbols, but later you wrote the word mnemonics in the in the graph, whereas instead of symbols in that, mnemonics has stayed in my brain, because that is a word that I remember many years back when I learned that word. So that stayed faster in my head. And then the last one was, obviously, instead of the VR effect, it'll obviously be the standout. For me, it's not the balloon, it's the red umbrella.
Great, great.
So that's how my brain processed that information. Okay, go ahead.
But this is wonderful, because see, what is happening, if you have realized, is the moment we are talking about mind maps, and we are talking about, so whatever is there in your brain, that's it's kind of like exploding. You're exploding with ideas.
Absolutely.
And automatic divergent thinking is happening.
Why did I make those videos? Actually, I was not making those videos for other people. I was making those videos for my brain to process that information and put it into a longer term memory. So yes, you're sharing information, but it was application and how I take that learning and put it into my context. Like yesterday, Soumitra threw everybody off guard by throwing a random topic about image of cards. Okay, he just said, okay, now make a video about cards. Fuck that. I don't even play cards. I don't even know about cards. I don't play cards. I don't know ABC about cards. So, but he met me at I had met him for some, he said, ma'am, I have made this mind map about these cards. I said, seriously? It's about the psychology of the brain. Okay, so he then went into this whole divergent about the psychology of the brain, of how what it's seeing is not true. I have not even looked at that topic from that point of view. But it was so interesting to pick up what he was saying. The trick question was that, I mean, I don't even know cards, but the cards that he had sent, the symbols and the colors were not matching. Now, a person like me who does not even know will just look at it as cards. So my idea is different. But he is now saying that what our brain is processing it as just numbers or but there's actually, we are seeing what we want to see, not what is being shown to us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Understand.
Right? So then he twisted that entire idea, right? And mine, I then ended up making a video, because I asked my husband, I said, you play cards, give me some reasons or some rules of cards so I can make a video about it, right? Then when he says, I was like, okay, what's the most important? And he couldn't tell me any. So I said, okay, then in that case, I realized I can't learn about cards in 5 minutes, right? So now, how do I deliver a topic that I don't know how to talk about? So what is my feeling about cards? The reason I don't play cards is because I think that for me, it's related to gambling. I don't like it. For me, it's like a waste. For me, it's a waste of time, and not waste of time. For me, it's like as if I'm gambling. So everything negative, risky, unpredictable, and waste of money is related. Those were 4 words that came to my mind when I thought about cards. So in the end, I made the video for saying the same thing, that I don't like playing cards because of these reasons. But actually, life is like a pack of cards, right? Why? We don't like what we get. In pack of cards, we don't know what we're going to get. We get a king, queen, or spade, or whatever, right? But we have to deal with it. We have to make the best of it, even if it's uncertain, risky, unpredictable, and it feels like it's gambling. But I have to deal with it and make the best of it and try to win the game of cards, right?
Oh, wow. I mean, nobody would say that you don't know about cards.
Right. So I'm just saying that I had to use my background knowledge of not knowing anything, but my feelings about that particular task to talk about it. Whereas Soumitra, who probably knows cards, used the entire psychological angle to talk about cards. So it was quite an interesting conversation.
And initially, of course, in my childhood, I haven't played with physical cards, but when we grew up and in college and all, we started playing in computer. And then when we went to college and all, our teachers encouraged us, not in the form of gambling, but it will sharpen your brain. So, in group, we used to have competitions where a group of girls into computers, we would actually play cards. So yeah. So coming back to this,
no, sorry, we went off topic.
No. I mean, it's completely fine because the moment you speak about cards, like what you associate and what I associate, for me, it's like telling my brain to think, because it's a game of probability. Cards is a game of probability. So for me, it's like brain sharpening tool, nothing else. So I don't look at it as gambling or anything. And time pass.
It's a mindset.
So absolutely. But now when you told about, okay, gambling, and also those were the words that did not come to my mind. Now I got some new information. Okay, yes, if played uncontrollably, it can become a kind of gambling, and people will waste a lot of time, especially youngsters. If they get addicted to it, they will waste a lot of time. So of course, those when you learn
mindset coming. Absolutely. Yeah. So this is a habit tracker.
Yeah. So what, as we were saying, that it's more like organizing our, one is you will be organizing all your data about yourself, using kind of building a CV for yourself. Next is, just now we have seen that whether you are writing an article or a speech and you already have used it, but I would want that you can make a customized version. I'll be sending you the picture of that mind map, and you can make a customized version of yourself, of how you will tell your audience about how to write an article or a speech, how to write an article or a speech. Now, this is again, you can use it, and you can also use customize it and give it to people. For example, you want them to track habit, or you yourself want to track some habits. So what we can do is, we do is we write down all the habits. This is just an example mind map. You can change the names and the whatever habits you want to track. For example, diet. So what I do here is, let me just increase the size. What I do here is, I just wrote down whatever. This is now my personal. Okay, water. So I need to take water. So I'll just add here. What I'll do is I'll add here 8 glasses. So, or I'll put a glass symbol example. Then fruits. Daily I take twice 2 fruit balls, because as suggested by my dietitian. So I have a dietitian who has suggested, and based on her only, I have this particular branch I have designed.
Please share the details of the dietitian. I need
she's from, her name is Shahnaz from Healthify. So we take a yearly plan where she tell everything that we need to eat every day. So the tension of what to cook is gone. So based on our diet and body weight and everything, and of course other medical conditions, they suggest. So separate one for me. And I mentioned that she should not give very variety kind of foods, because in the same house, only 2 of us, me and my spouse, we are staying. And if the food items that she tells us is completely different from each other, it would be difficult to cook again 2 different set of food just for 2 people. So more or less she matches. So for example, fast food, like maybe only once in a week we take. And
I don't eat fast food.
And rest of the time, so something. So I have put a cross here. And in case I take, then I will have to put in the mind map. I put in a mind map that, okay.
So this is done on a weekly basis?
Yeah, weekly basis. Okay. And coffee, it's like an exclamation mark, that beyond the limit, because I have some acidity issue lately. So I don't take too much of coffee, especially with the milk coffee. Then fried stuff and timings of food and all, did I manage or not? So it's not like I will do it on a Sunday, but whenever I have some free time or something, and we for my spouse, for example, I have a printout of the same thing. More customized just for him, not everything is there, printout. And what he does is, he would just put a tick or a cross near this mark. For example, here he will just put a tick or a cross. Okay, fruits I have not taken today, Monday, so cross. So what will happen is, 7 days of the week he will just put a
7.
cross,
okay, got it.
So just there only.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Okay,
so
good.
Not everyone wants to go to MindMeister all the time just for tracking some habits.
So print out karke just hand se karte jo. I think I like it. I'm going to do the same thing, because
and they do. And even for 30 days also it can be done. If you take a print out even on an A4, it is just putting a tick or cross, kiya nahi kiya, only that much, just telling yourself. So all those kind of things you can put here, and these are all like, you can customize it based on what you are trying to track. Diet, then meditation, like for example, morning and evening, whether we are doing or not. Or so it's just like what topic you want to put. Instead of meditation, you could put reading there, you could put anything else, or maybe just spending time in nature or something like that. And if you see here, some self inventory, and this I do it very regularly, like am I feeling a kind of, because this is a negative feeling, that hence I put a cross there. So at any point of time in the day or in the week, during the week, did I feel kind of victimized? Because that is not something an empowered woman or a human being should feel. Kind of victimized and mere saath hi kyun hua hai? Why did this happen? Or all of that. Or complaining. Did I complain too much about some petty issues today, tomorrow? Did I have this urge to react? It could be with spouse, it could be with team members, it could be even with an unknown person in a shop, unnecessarily wasting time by just giving some reaction. So did I have that? So I just ask myself, and you can add as many as you want. What are the emotions you want to track? And did I just review my productivity? Like this entire week, did I actually finish at least 4 or 5 major tasks that I was supposed to do? If I didn't complete, for example, like last week, last 10 days, I have not done anything. According to me, I have not done any new thing. And then I know, okay, it's fine because my body is going through a healing process. It needs time and it's okay. But at least I know. But if I don't make this mind map, then after a month or so, what exactly happened that month? Why am I so slow in this? So now I have my brain knows, okay, I won't be judging myself. Similarly, all of this, whether I feel joy, blissful, or I'm bored all the time, and you can keep on adding here more and more. So this is just an example, like what are the emotions or feelings that I have, and then distracted, like throughout the day, how many times, or not like being very strict about it, but at least once in a while I can just take time and think, okay, did I browse too much? And this again, I give it to my students also, the teenagers, and even not only teenagers, this 25, 26-year people, like they have an aim that in 5 years they want to reach this, or maybe they in 2 years they want to apply for this particular company, and they want to upgrade their career, and for that they are taking up some courses or something, and they are actually not they have invested their money, but they are not investing their time. At least once on during weekends they are supposed to read all those material, whatever it is, they need to make the preparations, but they are most of the time distracted with a lot of social media and all of that. So I just tell them that, okay, have a this particular branch should be there in your tracker, and whatever is that it is distracting you, it could be even your friends all the time coming to your hostel room and asking for coffee, or chalo bahar jate hai, even that could be there. So whatever distractions, then rituals, if you want to track any ritual, for example, are you maintaining those morning rituals? Like not, I don't talk to anyone after I get up for 30 minutes. There is strict instructions in the home, both by me and my spouse. So even if our relatives come, in-laws come, कि पहला आधा घंटा कोई एक दूसरे से बात नहीं करेगा. The reason is like we are completely immersed in ourselves, and taking the time to get ready for the day. So whatever it is, not these are just what we have shared, but if you can always customize it, and you can put it as rituals, morning and nighttime rituals and morning rituals and all of that. Then of course we make sure that we have this knowledge or something. This is again a daily thing that we do, at least maybe if we read for 30 minutes, or we listen. If we don't have time to read that particular day, we will at least listen to one podcast from I have a list of influencers whom I read, or a list of some motivational I will refer to. So for example, yesterday I was just listening to Bruce Lipton, just a 20-minute video, and it was on YouTube, but I didn't watch the video or something like that. I just put my earplug and just and it was like or I have Audible subscription and I listen to some motivational books sometimes. So whatever it is, I make sure that at least 30 minutes a day I'm doing this, and wherever I do, I will put it a tick there. For example, podcast, so I'll just put it a tick there. So this is again a way of organizing your entire all the habits in one mind map, and taking a printout is generally what I would suggest. Make one time for 1 month and use it for the entire month. So this was about habit tracking. So today, I would just stop sharing this. So today what we tried to do was, one was organizing and the other one was forcing. I would say forcing because we are not used to divergent thinking too much, because we have been taught by our teachers, by our parents, and even that is what they know the best, that we have to reach conclusion as fast as possible, because sabko first aana hai. We have to be the best, and when we want to be the best, we want to go back and tell the teacher that this is the correct answer. And our brain has been trained that way. At least teachers told us that one in school, if not parents. So we have to go back, pause, and force our brain to do divergent thinking, and slowly that will happen.
Okay.
So, did you find a link between what we have spoken all throughout?
Yes, there's a lot of things that how I need to. For me, it's going to be, I've been doing speed thinking. I have been thinking about and immediately how I'm going to be using it. I love the brainstorming thing that how leaders do and how it should be done.
Leaders
And
means I would say bosses do, because leaders would not do that.
Leaders also, leaders. So it's good. And how I've been applying it and how it, for me, it's a lot about preparation. So it's definitely, and it's good to see the structuring of it. So yeah, there's a lot. I will be immediately putting it into action and then sending you stuff.
Okay. And could you also make a mind map? Why I'm saying, why I'm asking you is because, too many things, because you're already doing a lot of, you already have so much on your plate and there's so much work that is going behind. So, can you schedule your day or week or at least month using mind map? Maybe can you start doing that?
But you'll have to show me how to do it.
Okay, slowly means what you can do is you can just put, for example, the center using maybe you can write month of August, or right now it's September, and you just want to plan for this week. There are various ways. Like some people, what they do it, they would put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and they would go up to Sunday, and they will just put something.
Okay.
So maybe we can talk about it next. And there are 4 or 5 ways, and you can choose which suits you best.
Suits me the best.
Yeah, some people do it daily, some people do it monthly. I do it monthly once.
I do monthly, weekly, and daily. I have 3 papers on my table.
Okay, excellent. Then you can actually do it on MindMeister and take a printout. So what happens is it's there with you. You don't have to manually take a lot of time drawing it and all of that. So we can do that. And I have some templates I will share with you next week.
Yeah,
we can discuss in details. So for this week, whatever the exercises and all, I'll put it in the workflow,
and I will create it
and the recordings, of course. Yeah, the recordings.
Yes,
actually, he wants to read the first part, that is where nothing is there. He wants to cut that and edit and send. So maybe it took some time or something.
No worries. No problem.
Today evening, you will send both this and the previous one. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Subra. I really enjoyed the class.
Okay,
and I'll see you next week then.
Yeah, sure. See you on Tuesday, ma'am. Yeah. Have a great day, ma'am. Bye-bye.
You too.